A movie that you want to like, but the film just tries so hard to make you not like it. Well, for me, that's Bolt. For every good quality the film has, there are so many plot holes and just broken narratives that this film just doesn't work as a whole level. And that's mostly because it was stolen from its director. Let's go into the production history. As I talked about before, Lilo and Stitch is the only 2000s Disney movie that was a smash hit at the box office and commercially. Not really smash hit at the box office, but it made a lot in merchandise. And critically, so you'd think they would let the director, Chris Sanders, work on his new idea and not fire him. Well, they did. See, Chris Sanders does a lot of ideas that are kind of strange, but he ends up making them work very well together, even when he's doing adaptations of stuff. His vision for Bolt, originally known as American Dog, was no different. The film still starred a dog who believes he's a television actor, however the world around him was a lot weirder. For example, the cat he's with was missing an eye, and they're also going to come across a giant radioactive rabbit, and they would go for the Nevada desert trying to find a new home together. A weird road trip movie filled with a lot of weird stuff. It would have been a very surreal film, but, you know, Lilo and Stitch works, and maybe this would have worked too. I don't know what the fuck these images are, but what the fuck are these images? Holy shit, maybe this film wouldn't have worked. Apparently, Sanders and Lasseter butted heads over ideas, and Chris Sanders was like, fuck this, I'm going to DreamWorks, where he did How to Train Your Dragon, which ended up being a way better movie than Bolt, let's be honest. The film feels pretty lackluster and not well thought out because they wouldn't have enough time to even fix out the flaws before the film had to be released, so yeah, that was a huge problem. So, what is the problem with this film? Well, there's a whole lot. You ever see The Truman Show? Well, if you haven't, go watch it, it's a great film. But yeah, imagine that movie, but instead of him being a human inside a dome that's a TV show, imagine he's a dog. A dog that thinks he has superpowers. Now, just changing those elements, you can imagine how little The Truman Show would make sense. The TV show that Bolt is a part of, literally everything about the production doesn't make sense. And not only that, instead of doing anything interesting commentary on the production cycle of a teen star or any abuse relating to that, there's none. So in this universe, instead of just training a dog to do certain stunts to make it easier so they can do multiple shots, they say, let's do it all in one shot, where you try to convince that the dog is actually in this environment, that the dog actually believes it's there, which makes literally no sense. Wouldn't that waste a lot of money, and plus you couldn't do certain plot points because you have to keep the same plot over and over again for the dog to keep thinking to the same world and be restricted of the actor and all that other stuff. Like, the guy gets mad there's a boom mic in the shot, not because it's in the shot and that ruins the shot because they have to crop it out, but no, because the dog might see it. Like, they haven't seen anything else that's wrong with this fucking production. And this plot point makes no sense either, because in the world, Bolt is a giant TV show that have giant advertisings for literally all across the country, but at the same time, they're gonna cancel it because the episodes are too predictable? Like, what the fuck? Do you know how many TV shows are out there that do the exact same thing over and over again, and they have going on for a long time? I just have one show up here, but there's a million shows. Pretty much every generic detective show has the same plot over and over again in each episode. And they are still strong to this day. I don't know who the fuck watches them, but apparently people do. So even that plot play makes no fucking sense. People are watching the show because they're probably having expensive stunts with a fucking dog. That's probably why they're watching it. So them canceling a show for just that is stupid as hell. This show is so popular that on the studio's own water tower, they have Bolt there. Like, geez Louise. Like, why would they cancel a show that's literally on their water tower? It makes no sense. So I already mentioned how dumb this guy and his overdramatic performance is. By the way, if you watch this movie, this guy's acting is fucking awful. Like, the way he acts is just so annoying. But he's like, the dog has to believe it, so the audience believes it. But then the audience apparently thinks the show is fucking predictable and lame. So what the fuck does it matter? And guess what? They replaced the dog anyway. With a dog they actually have to train. What was the whole point of this? Wasting all that money on stuff that doesn't matter. They apparently had a replacement dog the whole fucking time. But uh-oh, the new dog is scared. So when they try to film the show now, the dog is scared of these guys for some reason. Why is he scared? Did none of these people test this? There's no fireball on board? Like, what the fuck? Dangerous stuff there, people. They're getting a lawsuit. I know I'm jumping ahead, but the finale is because the one dog gets scared and now the whole set burnt down. Like, what the fuck? And then there's this agent guy who's supposed to be the main villain, but instead of being an evil agent, he just keeps saying the same thing over and over again. Like, put a pin in it. Well, put a pin in it. These are not how these characters work in real life. They're fucking assholes. Make the guy a fucking asshole. So yeah, the whole premise of the TV show literally makes no sense. And what's even stranger is the girl who's in the TV show, Penny, acts like she doesn't even really want to be a part of the TV show or do anything related, and she's just worried about her dog the whole time. How did she get signed up for the TV show if she barely wants to do it and just wants to be with her dog? Is there a money problem she has? Is her mom forcing her to do it? Is her dad doesn't exist doing it? You think they do some commentary on forcing kids to do horrible things like Disney does, actually, with the same star who's voicing the kid character, Miley Cyrus. Any time into that about abusive parents making their kids do Hollywood shit, having miserable lives? No, none of that. She's worried about her dog? Well, that's lame. I know that's kind of dark, but, you know, a lot of anime films go in dark places and that helps kids grow. So the agent doesn't hold anything over her, he just keeps saying, let's put a pin in that. Like I said, he keeps saying it over and over again. Like, there's so many plot points they could have gone with it, but they go nowhere! This character has a mom who just stands in the background and does nothing. I guess tries to get the dog back. We never see them care the fact that the dog is fucking gone. Oh well, who the fuck gives a shit about Bull? It's not like he's on our water towers or advertisements or anything. Fuck this movie. Oh yeah, so the girl has to print out missing posters for her dog, who's a big star that the whole movie production just does not care about. They just replace it. I think they replace him, but you think they would want to get the dog back at least if they trained for this, but apparently not. And even in the set, I just don't believe a dog would believe any of this is real. Mostly because they give him superpowers, which is going to be a problem because pretty quickly and easily this dog will find out he's not superpowered, you know? There are just some obvious things that could happen because he has so many powers, and that when he gets to the real world, he immediately figures out that they're all fake. Well, not immediately. He thinks that styrofoam makes him weak, and that's why he's failing, but whatever. But the whole setup is not even necessary. I can believe the dog will believe he's superpowered just because he's in the TV show without them actually having to manipulate him, because it doesn't make any sense. He's a dog. Of course he might believe that. He's not that smart. So yeah, the biggest problem is that they have ideas that could work, but because they barely developed them, probably because they had no development time, the film just feels weirdly weightless and doesn't have a lot going for it in that regard. However, the rest of the movie isn't bad, I gotta say. The rest of the movie is just Bolt trying to get back to Hollywood, and that's fine with two side characters who are better voice acted than him. Yeah, for some reason they thought, who would be the best person to play this character here, this dog? It's John Travolta. I don't think John Travolta's ever done voice acting before, and you can tell he's not very good at it. He just gives a very bland performance, and he just doesn't do any of the emotional bits very well. It's very John Travolta's a very funny guy, but not seeing his face and just a dog if his voice is just okay. What were they thinking? Do they think the parents would want to see this movie because John Travolta's in it? I don't think anyone exists like that. Maybe they're doing it for the Scientologists. Like, hey, Scientologists, John Travolta's in this movie. Go watch it. I also think the girl is a really bad voice actor, being Miley Cyrus, who's a Disney star, and you think they would relate to that, to her actual experience working on Hannah Montana or anything like that, but this is before that was all like dark shit, with her dad being a creep, but whatever. Oh, I forgot, another confusing thing about Bolt is that he doesn't know how to do dog things, despite the fact that these are just instinct-based. That'll be like having to teach a human how to breathe. Like, I don't get that. I mean, there are some cute moments relating to that, but there's some things that make no sense. Like, one point, Bolt gets hungry, he doesn't know what that feeling is, which, okay, but it's not like he's a pampered dog, he's a dog that does acting. Is there not a long shoot they have to do for his fucking immersive acting experience? Like, one of these days, he just goes on for a shoot for a very long time because we have to make this as immersive as possible to make it realistic for the fucking dog, and he didn't get hungry any of those times? Sorry, I don't believe that this is the first time he ever felt what hunger is. Like, get the fuck out of here. If he was like a fat-ass dog who just got ditched by his owner after getting overfed all the time, then it makes sense if he's feeling hungry, but like, it doesn't make any sense. I'd be like, what is this? Why am I feeling sad? It doesn't make any sense. Why do I feel sad? It's kind of like one of those things. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, this film isn't bad. It's just there's so many plot holes that really takes me out of the movie. Plus, John Travolta and Miley Cyrus' voice acting is pretty bad, so that also takes me out of the film. But for the most part, it's just Bolt and two other animals going on a road trip. That's kind of fun. They have a nice chemistry together. I like the cat and the little hamster guy. They're kind of fun. They have better voice acting than John Travolta, so it's kind of jarring, but whatever. And luckily, the road trip is most of the movie, so it's fine, but there's always elements that just don't work. For one, the animation is very inconsistent. The animals actually look pretty decent. They have good designs and animation. They have good fur texture. For some reason, they animated the pigeons very well and accurate to real life. Though a lot of the human models don't look very good at all. They look very jarring and very plasticky, and yeah. The funny part is the human I think that looks the most uncanny is the main girl. Something about her face, just in her hair, just does not look right. The way it's so stiff, it just... what the fuck? You think they put more effort into designing her face, but, whatever. And yeah, that's Bolt for you guys. I can see someone liking this, but for me, it just doesn't do a whole lot. If I can see this one growing up with it and be like, oh yeah, I like it. I saw it once when I was 8 and I didn't care for it, so I definitely did watch it when I was a kid, I just didn't care for it. Strangely, the most nostalgia I have for the film is seeing it on the Disney World buses as an advertisement. I don't know why I remember that very vividly. But Bolt has a lot of problems. Bolt, the character, is okay. John Travolta's a bad choice. The plot points about him being not real super dog doesn't work for me. I like the road trip aspect of the film, but at the same time, it's not executed that well. The two side characters are fine, but nothing outstanding. Other films like The Truman Show and Toy Story and other animated films have done similar plot points just to a way better degree. There's one scene in this film that really just breaks it apart for me. This is the scene where Bolt finally realizes that he's not super, and it lasts like 2 minutes. The hamster's like, well, yeah, I like you, so let's just keep on going, and that's it. There is like basically nothing to it. Imagine they did that in Toy Story, and Buzz realizes that he's actually a toy, not a space ranger, and he's like, and then Woody's like, oh, just get over it. And then Buzz's like, okay, whatever. And they missed the entire theme about the movie. What was the point of the film having this guy believe he's a superhero, and then realizing he's not, to give us nothing? It gives us nothing. And that's really how I feel about Bolt. A whole lot of nothing. It has a lot of failed concepts, some good to bad animation. It's a mix of both somehow, and a storyline full of plot holes. I gave this movie a 6, but rethinking about it, it's more like 5 territory. So I'm actually might put it down, but no, I'll keep it at 6 for now. I'm sorry, Bolt fans. I know there's some of you out there, even a film that isn't really that popular, they'll always have their fans come out of the woodwork as saying that you're wrong, everyone loves this film, despite the fact that not everyone loves this film. And there are some people who even argue this is the first movie in the revival era. Those people are delusional. It is not at all. Because it feels like it's the status quo from previous Disney films. It tries and fails at doing what it's trying to do. It's not doing anything new. In fact, this film is very stale with its ideas. So this is more like an end of an era rather than a beginning of one. Especially since the next film fits way more as being of the revival era than this movie. And you'll see why at the end of the video. If you wanted more Bolt, well, there is animation extras on your DVD. There is this animated short called Super Rhino, based off the hamster, whose name is Rhino, and he's a superhero now. Yeah, they exist. Just watch if you want to watch it. This is a Disney movie released in the 2000s. Of course, Bolt had his own video game. This one is based directly on the TV show itself, so Bolt has all his superpowers, and from what it looks like, it doesn't look very good, to be honest. I mean, Bolt with superpowers could make a possibly pretty good game, but from the looks of it, for the most part, the game doesn't look like it has much going for it. This game was released on all major consoles like previous games, so it was on PS2, PS3, Wii, and Xbox 360, as well as PC. But yeah, looking at this footage, I can tell there's a little bit too much jank from it, and it's bad when you can tell the gameplay doesn't look very good from footage, let alone just playing it yourself, but who knows, maybe this game is a secret hidden gem that I never heard about, but I doubt it. And of course, the game was given a DS port. This is the first game to not have a GBA port, which, why would they have a GBA port in 2008, but hey. And this game looks somehow even worse. I don't know, somehow. It looks worse than the console release. Does it look good to you? No, it does not. Sorry, Bolt fans. Bolt goes into the bottom of the D tier. It beats out the Rescuers just by a little bit. The Penny in that movie was worse than the Penny in Bolt. Yeah, both those characters have a girl named Penny in it. I pretty much explained why I don't get into Bolt. The concept, it just doesn't work for me, and the rest of it is just a mediocre road trip movie. It had potential to be a good movie, but from what we got, it's not very good. The Chris Sanders version of the film sounded bizarre, but knowing him, I'm pretty sure he would have pulled it off. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. There's plenty of dog movies to watch from Disney. Bolt just happens to be the weakest of the bunch. Yeah, it is the weakest of the bunch. So Bolt fails miserably at having a villain. And it's actually one of the biggest problems with the film. The only guy I can really count is the one weird manager guy who I don't even know the fucking name of. Or agent guy. Well, let's put a pin in it. Is that funny? That's all he says. It's not funny. They even put that as his main quote in the Disney Wiki. Let's put a pin in it. It's like, oh god, I hate this guy. But not in the way I'm supposed to. I hate him because he's lame and doesn't contribute anything to the plot. He sucks. It's like one of those films that needs a villain, but doesn't lacks one. So that's why the story falls flat, because why? Even the in-universe villain of the show, I can barely count because he doesn't do anything either. I'm not going to count a guy as a green eye. Whatever. It sucks. Fuck the agent guy. Seriously, what a waste of a villain. Fuck you, Bolt. Here is the song portion. There's only 2 songs in Bolt, however, they're alright. One ending up in the D tier, which is Barking at the Moon, which the title's pretty funny. But yeah, the song doesn't stick in my head, but it works for what it's doing. It's part of the montage of the road trip, and it's fine. Nothing too bad here. And in the C tier, we got the song that plays during the credits, and this song is bizarre, but I ended up kind of liking it enough to put it into the top of C tier. Not the very top, but near the top of it. This song is sung by Miley Cyrus because she's in the film, and oddly enough, she puts a better performance into this song than in the actual character voice acting, which is kind of funny that, that there's more emotion in this song, the whole entire performance. But yeah, okay, yeah, she was a hot thing for Disney at the time before her weird career thing. Not that I really care about that. Anyway, the weird part of the song is that she's not the only person singing it, so we have. It's a duet between Penny and her dog, because John Travolta is also singing on this song. And yeah, I know he's in Grease, but hearing his voice as an older guy and just coming out of nowhere, like, ah! John Travolta is hilarious. You ever see Carrie where he gets killed? John Travolta. He was in that Gotti movie. He's fucking awful. He's funny bad. And yeah, the song actually works, but John Travolta in it, like, he actually might have brought it down because his voice is so jarring next to Miley Cyrus's, and the fact that the 2 main characters in the movie just singing to each other, but they're not at the same time because they can't understand each other in the movie, it's just so bizarre, but I kinda like it. I don't know what they were thinking. But yeah, that's Bolt, a very strange and kind of like shoveled together movie that Disney seemed to have forgotten about, and most people have either, unless you're a diehard Bolt fan, in which case you're probably commenting how I'm a fucking asshole in the comment section down below, but I don't really care. Anyway, the next Disney movie is a start of the revival era. Thank goodness. The experimental / post-Renaissance era has some pretty good things, but it was very inconsistent. And it missed the musicals, which is what we're going to get back into when we get to the revival era. And we all know what movie that starts out with. And that movie is a return to 2D animation with The Princess and the Frog. I can't wait to watch it, and I'll see you then.